Hello guys, I'm here to talk about automating the automated testing framework. To be more specific, I work for Red Hat in Avocado project. Avocado project is a testing framework that was born from inside the virtualization group in Red Hat. The former tool used to test the virtualization tools in Red Hat was the Autotest, and then the team involved in Autotest decided to write a brand new testing framework, and they came up with Avocado testing framework. The initial goal of Avocado testing framework was to provide virtualization team a way to keep running the tests that they had already for libvirt, for QEMU, and for everything that they were testing already, but also to create a testing framework that would be capable to run anything else and not only virtualization-related tests. So Avocado testing framework is a set of tools and libraries aiming to help with automated testing. Native tests are written in Python. Avocado itself is written in Python as well. But any executable can serve as a test. So Avocado doesn't run only the tests that are using the Avocado API, but can run everything you write as an executable, and that returns an exit code that can be tested by Avocado. So in Avocado, we have the test runner, which basically provides automated logging capabilities, sysinfo collection. We run a sysinfo routine before and after every job that we execute in Avocado. Also, we have this nice user interface, and we also support several formats, like HTML, JSON, TAP, XUnit. Actually, if you want to see only the different resulting formats, like JSON, you can omit the user interface and have only that. This is a good point of integration with CI tools and so on. Avocado, besides the test runner, we have the Test API itself, which extends Python unit tests, introducing more features and more tools to help test writers writing tests, right? This is just a quick example of how to import the Test API from Avocado module and then use it in a regular test. We have also a set of libraries called Avocado utils to help with more facilities while writing your tests. Like we have here, in this test, we are importing archive, build, process, and we are using those utilities inside our test to make the test writing easier. This is the continuation of the same test. Here we are using the process module inside our test function. And also Avocado has a bunch of plugins. Actually, almost everything in Avocado is a plugin. The run command itself is a plugin. Multiplex command is a plugin. The result formats are all plugins, and we have this very important Avocado VT plugin, which is the plugin that enables Avocado to run the tests that were written for Autotest previously. So we have this plugin that acts as a wrapper for Avocado to run that Autotest test. So this is mainly what our virtualization team is using to keep testing libvirt, QEMU, and so on. A very important feature in Avocado is the multiplex. I will talk a little bit about this feature because I choose this one to talk in more details here in this presentation because we have a lot of features, but this one is very important, and I'd like to show you how we handle the test parameterization using this multiplex feature. Here, I have a very simple test, a very simple function. This is, let's say, my code that I want to test, which is a simple function just to return true or false, depending on the result, if it's even or odd. And here, I have a simple test for this guy, for that module, using the regular Python unit test. This is probably the most simple way we can use to test that function. But the problem comes when we need some parameterization in these tests. We can even write this same assert like 10 times with different numbers, different parameters, and have different tests. But of course, there are some better ways to do this parameterization and not writing so much code. Another way that we can use to test this, like parameterize it, is to create that structure with different combinations of numbers. And then we have here a for, which will generate, will inject in that test my module that tests with different parameters. So this is kind of dirty, right? We have some test runners that resolve these in a different way. Let's say if you are using nose, we can create this test generator, and then you will have this verify function, and this will be executed as many times as the number of items you have to run from this generator. Also, you can use, let's say, PyTest and do something even more clean than that. But in either case, you are using the parameterization from inside your test. How Avocado deals with this parameterization stuff? So let's see at this very same test written for Avocado. This is pretty much what you would have in Python unit test. But the only difference here is that we are using this feature from the Avocado testing API, which is getting the num1 and num2 and attributing these two variables. And if those parameters are not available, then we will assume the default 0 just not to break our test. And the whole parameterization will come from this guy here, which is a YAML file. And in that example, we just have a simple num1 and number1 and number2 with the values. And Avocado, when running that guy, Avocado run, test my module, Avocado. This is the basic test with no parameters. And we can add here the test my module avocado.yaml. And I will have the very same test, but assuming those parameters 2 and 4. If I take a look on the logs, I can see that the parameters were provided to that test, and that test actually pasted. Now, I'd like to propose a more complex parameter structure. Look, in this example, we have this same YAML file, but now I have two different combinations of the parameters. And using this custom YAML tag that Avocado can recognize, Avocado will, instead of attributing twice the parameters to that variable, it will run actually the test 2 times, and each time the test will have access to a different set of parameters. And showing that happening, mux. Now I have 2 tests. Of course, one of them is failing because the sum is not even, it's odd. And if we take a look on the log, we can see that Avocado created this parameter 3 out of that YAML file, and then created the possible variants out of this tree. And the first test actually passed here, 2 and 4, and the second one didn't pass, 3 and 4. So we had the failure, and since we had a failure, we are also exposing the test function variables content out of that failure. And to propose a less and more complex structure, I'd like to show you this one. For this structure, we have 2 different trees, and both are being multiplexed. And what will happen here is that Avocado will create this tree and will create also all the combinations between number 1 and number 2. So we will have now 2 times 2 different combinations. So Avocado will execute the test 4 times. Each time it will have access to a different combination out of those parameters. Let's see, that's happening again. So now we have 4 tests, and if you, again, take a look at the log, you see these 3 representation, which is more complex right now, and all the variants. We call every combination, every different combination of those parameters, we call it variants, and each variant is a set of parameters that will be available for the test. Okay, and these can become quite messy if you have a big YAML file or if you have different YAML files and want to combine those together. So instead of having to run your test every time you want to try how the multiplex tree will look like, you can actually use the Avocado multiplex command, which is a plugin, as I said before. And informing the YAML file, we will expose the YAML, the multiplex tree that Avocado is creating. And using different options in this same Avocado multiplex command, you can actually see the variants, see the parameters that will be created, and all the values that those parameters will assume in each different variant. So this is a powerful tool when it comes to test automation, because you can only write this YAML file with different combinations of what you want to test, and Avocado will re-execute the test for every variant created out of this YAML file or files if you have more than one. Okay, now talking about a different feature of Avocado, we have the job diff. This job diff feature is something that was created to compare 2 different jobs in several aspects. So let's say we have this very simple test with this YAML file, and we have this execution here, and a second execution is actually being interrupted, but it's this very same line of command. We are using here a job timeout equals to 5. Here is passing after 1 second because it finished before the job timeout, so it passed. And in the second execution, it was actually interrupted after 5 seconds. And of course, you can dig into the logs here and see what's going on. But if you use the job diff tool, which is also a command, which is also a plugin of Avocado, we will compare those 2 jobs identified by the job ID or the job results directory. If you don't remember the job ID, but you have the job results directory, or if you send someone, let's say a colleague, the job results directory, your colleague can actually compare that job results directory with another one, and then you will have access to this very let's say common unified diff. Here we are comparing 2 jobs in at least 6 different aspects. Only the aspects that actually have any difference will be shown for the user. So we have total time different here. But what's probably causing the problem is that in the first execution, the timeout was 1 second from YAML file. In the second execution, the YAML file was different. So the variable called timeout assumed a value of 10 seconds, and then the job was interrupted because of that. It's a very simple example just to show you the job diff tool. We also have job replay. This is a very useful feature. So if you execute Avocado with a given command line, you can recreate that job entirely, only providing the job ID of the original execution. You can also provide the job results directory, and this is very useful if you send someone else the job results directory. Instead of the guy having to write again the same command line used to create that job, he can just run Avocado, run -- replay, and the job results directory instead of the job ID, and the job will be recreated. Inside this replay feature, we have the replay test status, which is a nice sub-feature. Here you can just inform the status of the tests that the variants of the original job that you want to replay. So if the third variant of that test was the one failing, and you are replaying only the variants that actually failed, you are actually, in fact, replaying only the third variant of that test, and variants that were not with the fail status in the original execution will be just skipped in the replay job. Sorry. We have the login system. The login system is a way to better manipulate the... There's something funny here, right? Okay. It's not from this room, sorry. The login system is something that you can actually use to improve the Avocado login. So instead of the standard user interface, you can actually create your login stream inside your test and use it outside the test, like tweaking the user interface to show only your custom login stream. Or you can redirect that login stream to a dedicated file. It will be recorded in the main job file as well, but you can use it to tweak the way that Avocado behaves when executing your test. Asset fetcher, it's just an utility that helps you to fetch files and cache files from inside your test. So you can use just self.fetchAsset and inform a location, a hash algorithm, expired time if you want, and the test API will take care of download that file, cache that file. If it's already downloaded and cached, we will use it from the local cache directory. Pre-post job, we have plugins and hooks that were written using that plugin. That it's actually a way to execute stuff before and after your batch of tests. We have also 3 remote plugins. Right now, we have the basic remote plugin, which you only inform the IP address or host name, user, password. Avocado will execute these tests remotely, will collect the results, and will show you the results in the same user interface. We have the VM plugin, which uses the remote plugin as base, and actually it's interacting with libvirt to start the virtual machine, probe the IP address, connect to that virtual machine, run your tests, log off from the virtual machine, collect the results, and show you the results in the local user interface. And we also have the Docker plugin that does almost the same, runs that container, connects, run the test inside the container, collect the results, and show the results in the user interface. this year, we created the LTS version, which is supported for 18 months or so. Minor release from time to time, but only bug fixes and, you all know, downstream version, right? And we are expected to release a new LTS version every year or so, but we have only one right now. And what's next? We are working in the job API right now, because right now users are limited to the command line itself. But if you want more flexibility, it would be good if you have actual job API, so you can write your jobs in Python, right? That's nice. And we have some multiplex enhancements coming on, some remote enhancements. Actually, I'd like to invite you guys to join the community. You can access the Trello board, which is public, and you can vote for your features. Some information about the development. We are right now 3 full-time developers at Red Hat, but we have collaborations from a good number of companies already. We still are a very new project, but we have some big use case of Avocado in some companies. And some information about the community. We are on GitHub, of course. And this is the mailing list, RC channel. We have some third-party test repositories, so you can go to that repositories and be inspired by the way that, I'm not saying that they are great or bad tests, but they are tests written using the Avocado testing API, so you can get inspired there. And here is the main page of Avocado project. And that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we have some time for questions. Okay, and as you can see on the question, yeah, help me, I was kidnapped. Everything needs testing, even our Slido manager. So, okay, can you compare Avocado to Robot Framework?
I can't, sorry, I don't know Robot Framework. But if someone knows Robot Framework, you can also give your thoughts here.
Okay, another one. Are you planning to support testing on Windows?
No, but you can. But you can propose that, and it will be, of course, evaluated and discussed. But right now, we know that some guys are trying to run Avocado inside Windows and also on Mac. But it's not on our, let's say, I mean, we are a community, but it's not on our core support offer right now.
Okay. Can Avocado run test based on PyTest?
Yes. On Avocado, you can use the Avocado runner and the core runner itself, or you can use an external runner. So you can inform a PyTest, you can inform -- external runner PyTest, and then PyTest will be used as the runner to execute the test. So we can just collect back the results and, of course, show the results in the user interface.
Okay, next one. Is Avocado only a framework, or does it integrate with existing tools such as Pylint?
No, it's not integrated with Pylint. It's just a framework right now. Actually, we kind of use Pylint inside Avocado framework for some internal tests, but the goal of Avocado is being the best testing framework that we can probably do, or at least offer to the users that are consuming Avocado itself. So we don't have such integration right now.
Okay, next one. Is Avocado so verbose by default, or has this been set in an user-wide configuration?
It's not so verbose. Come on, it's showing only the It's showing only the test results. No, by default, that's the user interface. Of course, you can tweak that. You can just silent the user interface. You can create your own user interface out of the login string that you created from inside your test, but that one's the default Avocado user interface.
Are you familiar with Koala.io? How would you compare Avocado to it?
Not enough to compare, sorry.
Do you have Emacs package for Avocado?
No, no package for Emacs. We have Fedora, Rail, but we don't have integrate. But I mean, if you are using some IDA to create your tests, you have access to the Avocado internals and Avocado API, so you can use it anyway.
Okay, and the last one, is it Python 2 only, or can I use Python 3 or even PyPy?
Yes, Py2 and Python 3.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.